Now let's take a look at putting the arms on this guy. So we'll go in the front view and we'll try and draw this spline out. So I'm going to middle mouse click, go into my front view where I can see this. I want to turn my grid back on, go to filter, click on grid. And at this point, I'm going to come up here and get one of my drawing tools. I'm going to use the linear spline. And I am going to start right here in the middle. I'm going to click Alt or Option D on the keyboard to get rid of the gizmo because it's in my way. And draw it out here. This will be the shoulder. Draw something out maybe here. Maybe something like that. Okay, let's take a look at that in the perspective. All right. So what I want to do now is come back over here into the front view. I'm going to grab my live selection tool, make sure I'm in point mode. I'm going to select this point. I'm going to right click and choose chamfer. And I'm just going to click and drag to the right to split that off into 2 points. Maybe just round that out to say 25 centimeters. I'm going to click the space bar, and you'll notice it'll take me back to the last tool I used, which is the live selection tool. I'm going to select this one, click the space bar again. It'll take me back to the chamfer tool. Again, drag to the right. Let's use 25 centimeters again. Okay, let's take a look at this now in the perspective view. We got that coming straight out. So I think what I want to do is take these points, so I'm in point mode right now, and rotate them. See, I've turned my gizmo off, so the rotate tool is not coming up, so I need to click Alt-D on the keyboard or Option-D for that to come back. Remember that because that can kind of throw you off. You don't realize that you've made it disappear. Pull this up a little bit. I've rotated it. Maybe pull it this way. Rotate it a little more. This is really up to you. I'm just trying to get mine how I think this guy should look. So now what I want to do is come over here and grab my sweep NURBS. Let's take both of these pieces that we're dealing with and drag them to the bottom. You don't have to do that, but that's just something I like to do. And I need a circle spline. Now, obviously, this is too big at the moment, so we're going to take this from 200 to about 2. We will put our spline under the sweep NURBS and then drag our circle right inside it. And so now we get the geometry. And that looks about right. Seeing a little strange thing going on here, so I'm going to turn this off. Go back into point mode, select my spline. I'm going to select this spline right here. I'm going to right click and click on soft interpolation. And that sort of fixes that problem. Now, I think I have too much geometry here, so I'm going to go to my circle and go from adaptive to natural. And with the spline, I'm going to do the same thing. Take it to natural. Get rid of some of this geometry. Okay, so now we need to create the little hands. So to do that, middle mouse click, I go into the front view, come over here, and again, I'm going to grab my linear tool. I'm going to draw something like this. Click the spline. Grab my live selection tool. Select this point. Again, we're going to do the chamfer tool. Drag this out. Let's say 20 centimeters. Then we want to right click, go to create outline, and we can drag to the left to create an outline of our spline. Let's go into our perspective view, take a look at what we have. With this spline selected, click O on the keyboard, so we've got that right here. We want to drop in a extrude NURBS, put our spline underneath that. So now we have our 3D geometry here. And we can do something with the caps to make it a little more interesting on the front and the back. Now I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to say current state to object. Drop that down. We have the caps now, so we're going to have to unfold all of these. We're going to select them all. Right click. Connect objects and delete. And now this is our right hand. I can get rid of this extrude NURBS. Got the right hand here. Now, obviously, this is huge compared to our robot right now, so we're going to need to scale that down. Actually, let's go to Mesh, Axis Center, and center that. Now we can scale it. Let's go into our front view, E on the keyboard, the Move tool, O to frame that. And I'm going to move the axis by enabling the Axis tool. Put that right about there. Turn that off. So we want to move this down till it fits right here on the end of the arm. Scale down. Maybe something like that. Let's take a look at this in the top view. Again, E with the Move tool. Move this over. O on the keyboard. Just get it lined up. That right there. Now we can move into the perspective view. O on the keyboard. We're going to want to do something like that. Maybe scale it up just a little bit. And I'm going to rotate this. This is just whatever you want. This is how I sort of see the guy. Now I'm going to come over here and rename this right arm. And maybe take a look at some of the end scale. Let's get in here a little tighter. And we can play around with this end scale. So it's going to sort of get smaller as it gets to the hand piece. But at the moment, I'm feeling like this arm is a little anorexic. So let's do this. Let's just take our circle and make that a little bigger. Maybe something like 6. Let's go down here to the end again and control our end scale by clicking on the sweep NURBS here and taking our end scale down a little more. Now I'm going to take the right arm and right hand. I'm going to select both of these, Alt or Option G. Call this right arm. Now I'm going to go to a 4-way view, then go to my top. Get this all centered up. I'm going to take the Axis tool, go to the Move, and I want to take this and put the axis right here at the beginning of the arm. Make sure we have that right in each view. Go back to the top view. Turn off our Axis tool. And now I'm going to come over here and we're going to duplicate the right arm by holding down Control or Command and dragging left. And then basically what I want to do is change the heading on the left arm to -180, and it basically flips it over. So now we have this, and we want to change this to something like 150. So that's kind of where we're at right now. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to merge our phi into the scene. Take a look at our phi and get rid of some of these. Rid of that. And here's our phi. And I want to put this inside the body of the robot. Let's go to the front view. And let's just take it and get it positioned where we want it. There. Let's go into another view. Now we're going to have to pull this forward a little bit. So we want it about halfway in. Okay, that looks about right. Scale this down. All right, something like that. Let's get into our perspective view. Hit O on the keyboard. We're going to need to take this down more. Also going to need to come into the points mode and grab some of these points. Do something like this and just pull this up. Let's go back into model mode and pick this up a little bit. Something like that. Back into points mode, grab these pieces at the bottom. These points here and pull that down. Okay, now we want to put an extrude NURBS in the scene. Put our phi underneath it. And maybe take down the movement a little bit. More like that. Let's go to mesh axis center, center axis 2. Grab my phi. We just pull this guy out a little bit so we can see it better. I'm going to take the extrude NURBS and put a fillet cap on the front. Take that way down. That's going to work. Okay, so we've got the arms and we've got the phi heart worked out. So next we'll work on the wheel.